I'd like to call this November 24th, second budget meeting to order. You need to roll call? No, I'll take it. Okay. Is this something, Frank, you just put on our desk? So why don't you explain, before I get to the public, you got a minute, just let me, because we just got this. So why don't you explain this to me? So you're saying hire additional people.
Yeah, I don't agree with the statement that we should move towards a part-time police department. I think the people in Bristol deserve to have a stable department, something that we don't have to worry about, every other month we might have to hire another part-time officer. We have a stable squad system. This basically is a 4-squad system, which we already have. The only difference is, with the additional position of lieutenant, we lose a person from patrol. So that's where the extra officer would have to come in. I think there's some ways that we can work with negating some of the overtime once we get rolling. And I would say probably looking at a schedule that might be more effective where it doesn't require so much the need for overtime. So that's something that going forward I would work with the police department, the chief, and try to determine maybe a schedule that might be more advantageous. During the election, I knocked on over 2,500 doors, spoke to 4,000 or 5,000 people. I got a sense for what they need and what they want, and what the main thing that I heard was about police response times. There were stories about late response times, and there were stories about not responding. And late response times, you can always basically say what caused that. If you look at the amount of activity that night, that could cause it to be late. But not responding, and I didn't hear it from just one person. There was a lot of people that said they had called at times and nobody responded. So what we need to do is we need to make sure that we have a staffing level so that those types of things don't happen.
So the question, I'll ask the chief on it. Do we not respond to calls?
Not that I know of, no. I haven't gotten any complaints of officers not responding to calls.
I mean, the county would have records of that if we respond to a call.
Yes.
But I don't think we can pull all them records tonight. But here's my question.
I'm just relating what
Yeah, I understand. Here's my question. We cut an officer to save money, whether people believe that or not. You could see the budget's 1.8 million short right now. Adding 2 more officers, you want to add another 200,000 to the budget, because there's no guarantee that anybody's going to retire. There's cops eligible to retire, and there's cops eligible to go out on permanent disability, but we don't know if that's going to happen or not. I mean, we don't have a crystal ball to say, okay, well, these 2 guys that are eligible for retirement are going to retire. So do we all want 20 cops? Absolutely. But by hiring cops, that doesn't solve the problem. The problem, in my opinion, is we're handcuffed with a contract right now. that we're gonna be going into negotiations. They did call and they said they wanna meet in December. So we scheduled 2 meetings. But I showed you, I'm not gonna put it back up on the screen. We got $385,000 in overtime for the police department. It's insane. But the reason for that is because they choose, and I use that word again, they choose to work overtime. So unless that contract gets changed, I don't care if you hire 5 cops, 10 cops, you go back to 12-hour shift, 8-hour shift. If it says you need 2 full-time officers on at all times, you're gonna pay overtime. There's no way to get around it. Because you don't know if you're gonna get sick tomorrow. There's no guarantee you're gonna call out. We don't know what's gonna happen, something could happen to them. So you still pay the overtime. The only way to cut costs and to lower this budget is to hire part-time help. And you backfill the shift with part-timers. Because now you're gonna save money. You can't save money. Look, when we had issues with Squad 5 and all, we went up to 17 cops or 18 cops. We needed them. We had a lot of issues in town. But through attrition, guys retired, we never replaced them. And that's what we're looking to do now. Unless you tell me, you're saying hire, but tell me how to pay for them. Do you have a suggestion on how to pay for them?
Well, I know that previously there was a need to hire someone, I think it was the officer to follow, and you somehow managed to think outside the box at that time, and you hired somebody even though it changed your staffing level, so I know that. So I'm just saying in this day and age, okay, and you can say that nothing happens in Bristol,
I never said that.
that we don't need that. But I'm saying through my experiences in law enforcement and doing all the arrests for the last 23 years, that the people in town deserve a full-time police department.
So let me ask you a
And
question.
if you look at this, you're only hiring 1 extra person.
Well, no, you're at 10. You're saying somebody's going. Did somebody
Yeah,
tell you they're going to retire?
Not really, and if one of those officers who we know is not going to come back to work for disability, okay? So if he goes and you replace him with a furloughed officer, okay, that still brings you to 10. Okay, so the extra officer would be so that we could go back to a system where we have a full-time detective. Okay, I know the chief says we don't need one, but the quality of the reports and the efficiency of the investigations, okay, are much stronger when you have a full-time detective. Okay, I don't know how they're doing it now. There's been some investigations I know that probably should have been wrapped up with arrest by now, but they haven't, and it's been months, and you shouldn't have that.
Joe, I don't know, you need to, I don't know what's going on with all this.
I disagree with bringing the full-time detective back, and I'm going to tell you why. And there are all the cases other than 2 that have taken a long time because of outside agencies are completed at this time. But just to respond to the full-time detective position. In 2025, the detective has 5 arrests. 5 investigations
For the year.
for the year, and then just about into December. So I don't understand why we would. In 2025, up until this point, the detective has 5 arrests for the year. So that's 5 investigations for the year, for 11 months. going into the 12th month. My recommendation is to continue to keep the detective where he's at, in the patrol to help cover the street. And he knows, and he's done it, if a major case comes in, he gets assistance from one of our part-timers who was a detective for years, and he could come in on overtime if needed to investigate the case. The caseload is not at the level where we need a full-time detective.
Can I ask the chief a question? Chief, when it comes to a investigation by a detective in Bristol Borough, correct me if I'm wrong, but would there, even if we had a detective, the scope of what he would be investigating is limited, right? In the sense of if there was a major, let's just say, I hate to say it, but a murder in town, who would investigate that?
So if there's a major case, as we had a couple years ago with the homicide down in the Mill Street parking lot, the Bucks County DA's office assigns detectives to come down, and they work with us and pretty much take the lead with all their equipment and technology and investigate the case. They don't exclude us from the case.
Sure.
They keep us working the case with them, but on all major cases, they take the lead.
And then they obviously have more resources at their disposal to do such a thing, correct?
Correct, and they're in direct contact with the district attorneys. The county detectives are in direct contact with the district attorney's office on a daily basis, because they all work in the same place.
So at the current level, our detective would have had 5 investigations up and through, almost all the way through November for the year of 2020.
He has 5 arrested. There might have been a couple more investigations.
I got you.
But we had 5 arrested. None of them were, like you said, like a murder or anything like that.
But the duty of a detective is not only to handle their arrests and their investigations, is to act as support for the patrol officers and follow up on their investigations, thereby relieving them of having to work overtime to do that.
I understand.
And let them return back to patrol and do what they need.
I hear you. I hear you. My concern about, I think we're getting lost a little bit in the weeds of here's where I am. I don't want any of this to be a back and forth about who supports police and who doesn't. I think we all support police in this room without a doubt, but I think our police department does a fantastic job. Someone can fact check me on this. It's been a while since I looked at it, but it was this calendar year. We often use Ben Salem as a model. I know Ben Salem has gotten a lot of accolades for what they've done for their police department. I believe, I could be wrong, that about 30% of their budget is spent on their police department. This is, we're approaching 50%, right? When we're at the $3.6 million mark.
I can only say your tax money, your tax revenue does not cover the police department.
Right.
Not enough, with your general fund taxes is not enough to pay for your police department.
Right. And what is our total budget? Do you know the total number?
That's 7 million, eh?
I didn't know if there was a solid one number on there.
7.25.
So 77.25 million, and right now we're budgeted for 3.624 million. I mean, I hear what you're saying, and I just think at this point in time, our job is to make decisions that are best for the taxpayers. They're not always the easiest decisions, but we are at 50+%, 50% of our budget on a town that's 1.9 square miles on the police. And again, I don't want any of that misinterpreted as people don't support the police, because we absolutely do. But there comes a time when we just have to look and say, how many years ago it was when we had the squad 5, that we needed it. Now we are 50+% of our budget on the police department. Crime is coming down everywhere, which is a good thing. But I definitely think our police has done an amazing job in coordination with all the other things that are happening in town to bring us to a place where now we have to make decisions. And no disrespect to a detective, they do good work, but when you look at someone that ultimately has to issue 5 arrests over the course of an entire year, and we're looking at tough spots to make cuts, it just seems like that's where we are.
Well,
That's just
it's my understanding that's 5 arrests that he's made as a patrolman, because he's been working patrol for 2025.
Okay.
So
Here's what
there
I-
are other investigations he would be involved in as a detective.
Here's what I don't understand. A police officer, whether you're full-time or part-time, you're a police officer. You're sworn to do your job. You're Act 120 certified. You took the same test. You do everything you're supposed to do as a regular police department, as a police officer. Am I right or wrong?
I don't think they take a test
They don't take a test?
to get hired as a part-timer.
Do they take a test?
To get hired
Are
as a
they
part.
120, Act 120 certified?
Yeah, they're all certified.
They're certified,
They go through
yeah.
an interview process and a background and.
But there's
Just like
no
they don't
test
take it.
process.
No, but they're Act 1, they're the same, have the
Act
same
120 certified.
certification as a full-timer, whether you're part-timer.
True.
So if you said, how many people did you talk to? 4,000 or?
4,000 people,
Okay.
5,000
If you went to them 4,000 and told them you want to raise their taxes by $1,000 this year to pay for cops that are making 280,000, 220,000, how many do you think will raise their hand?
Well, probably not many of them, I'm
Okay,
sure.
then next year, you gotta tell them we're gonna raise it another 20%. So instead of 1,000, now you're paying 1,200, and that's gonna keep going up, it's not going down, because once you hire, you can't get rid of a cop. We were fortunate that the cop that we furloughed we were able to lay him off, and everybody thinks it was personal, it was never personal. You can't sustain a budget that's out of control with police. It's just, there's no way to control this unless this budget, this negotiation period, we're successful, and we feel we will be. But we felt we were successful in other negotiations and we lost. So that doesn't mean,
Anytime you go to arbitration,
yeah, you don't know, and you know that's where it's gonna go. So we don't know what's gonna happen, but like Greg said, our job is to make sure the taxpayers are protected. Now, we could go borrow money, because we're debt-free, and say, okay, we want to go borrow, I don't know, $500,000 to hire 2 cops, right? Now, next year, you got to go borrow $1 million, because you got to pay that $500,000 plus, now you got another $500,000. Then it goes, it's like the rink, start paying it on a credit card. Before you know it, you can raise taxes in the debt service. I don't think anybody wants to raise taxes anymore.
have you ever thought about putting a referendum out and gauging what the temperature is of the people in town, whether or not they would pay for a tax increase for full-time police department?
Something we could do. But right now, I just need you to tell, I mean, I know what you're saying, you wanna do the squads but nothing says here how you wanna pay for it. And that's the problem we have right now. We need to close the $1.7 million deficit, or 1.8.
1.8%
Today, insurance, we include a 12% increase. We got a call today, it's gonna be 20%, so we needed to add another 8% to our medical, which is over
$37,300.
$37,000 more today, that we found out that that's gonna go up.
Now, that's not all due because of the police department, correct?
No, it's broken down. Angie, what was that? I don't have it.
The police is $21,000 increase. Administration is $1,000, license inspection is $6,000, and public works is $9,300.
Joe, I mean, you have it.
So I just wanted to read this for council if I could. The documented informant reports in the RMS system is the calls that were written. So in 2021, we were at 5,533. In 2022, it went to 5,036. In 2023, it went to 3,868. In 2024, it dropped to 2,493. And as of today, we just broke the 2,000 mark. 5 weeks left to go in the year, so we're still continuing to drop. So, as you can see, that the guys are doing a good job out there that are working, and that the calls for service are dropping. And I look at, back in the day, I was the first one to stand here and argue that we needed police, we needed Squad 5 because of what was going on. But if you drive through our neighborhoods today, tonight, whenever, they're all different now. They've changed. The wards are different. We've done a great job, and I can't sit here and tell you in good faith that we need more cops and that the taxpayers need to pay for them. I just can't do that. The numbers show differently. My experience, 34 years in the police department here, and these numbers and what I see on a daily basis, because I don't sit behind a desk, and you all know that. I'm out there looking to see what's going on. During the day and the night, I come in. And I can't sit here and ask you for more police officers, knowing that you would have to raise taxes and that there's no need for that at this time. But I can tell you, because of the vicinity where we live between two major cities, that could change at any time. And if it does, I will come up here as your chief and tell you that it's changing, that the numbers are changing, and that we need to consider going back to maybe a Squad 5 situation if we have an uprise in certain neighborhoods, or we need to consider hiring some more police officers. But tonight, I cannot sit here and honestly, in good faith, tell you that we are understaffed and we need more full-time police officers. We still have 2 out on workman's comp right now that we don't know when they're going to come back. So if you're asking me, should we hire 2 full-timers to replace the guys that are out on disability that are getting paid 100% of their salary and their benefits, I can't tell you, I can't go along with that. I can't recommend that.
And the problem is, if they come back,
Are you going to lay the 2 off again? Or where are you going to get the money?
and there's not even a starting salary in the budget. So the whole, look, if we have to hire cops, if we gotta borrow money, we borrow money and raise taxes, but I still think you could be just as effective. And I'm not saying the whole department should be part-time. You know what I mean? We still need our full-timers that are here, but through attrition, I think as people retire, we really don't need to hire more full-time police officers. It's just, we can't afford it. I mean, if you could tell me how to close this gap or how to hire them without raising taxes, I'm all ears. But I could sit here and say, if I was in your seat, I like to sit there and say, hire 3 or 4 more cops. But that doesn't make our town safer. When you say it's making it safer, or it may make it more state, look, it's full-time, yes, they're here, they work here. None of them live here except a couple. So it isn't like they're community oriented, they're gonna they work, they go home. But yeah, if you got a guy that works here every day, he takes pride in what he does, but I think the part-timers do too. Their records show that they're outperforming the full-timers by like 2-3 to 1. So who's producing more right now?
Well, the part-timers are producing. We have a part-timer that wrote 369 tickets this year. We have 1,242 stops as of October. And when I say traffic stops, we're not issuing tickets on every traffic stop. And that's not what it's about. We're not trying to issue all these tickets. It's the presence of the police. We get grant money for these aggressive patrols and occupant safety patrols. And you see police cars out there on stop signs up on 13. It is the presence that we have out there, that using the part-timers as my proactive police officers out there doing the stops. And they're making drug arrests, gun arrests once in a while with them stops. But it's the presence of the police officers out there that's helping drive these numbers down. And the part-timers, I'm utilizing them as our proactive units, and it's working. And the numbers are dropping drastically since I took over in 2021. It's cut in half. Thank God.
Yeah, no problem. I just can't go tell somebody in town that I want to increase your taxes when that people are having a hard time maybe paying for medicine or whatever. I mean, you got seniors in this town that are struggling right now. And $500, $1,000, or $1,500 tax increase for the average person. I'm not talking about people that could be a couple $1,000. I mean, your taxes will go up a couple
Oh,
grand.
absolutely.
You know, nobody, how many people you think you won't drive down your development? You go raise everybody's taxes $2,000. So, you know, there's a fine line, and I think I have to trust the chief. He's doing an outstanding job. Crime is down. We had 12 calls on a weekend, 6 calls on a weekend.
We just past weekend was as busy as it
It's
was
a
in
proven
town.
fact that we could do it with part-timers. I mean, if that doesn't happen, then I'll be the first one to sit here and say, Frank, I was wrong. You know, you were right, and it isn't about being right or wrong. It's about protecting the people of this
It's not an exact
town.
science, Ralph.
Pardon me?
What I'm talking about is not an exact science.
No.
It's not a guarantee that the plan works. I mean, there's a lot of factors. One of the factors this past year is that caused the rise in the overtime was injuries and then three officers out for an extended period of time for investigation. So, I mean, that's what helped to drive the taxes of the overtime up. I mean, that's pretty.
But yet, not to interrupt you, but yet when I say Joe, no disrespect, when the chief put in a part-timer instead of a full-timer, they filed a grievance. And we had to go pay that person who didn't get called in. So it shows you that they don't care about the borough. They care about this, how much money they can make. To me, that was embarrassing to file a grievance against this borough when you're making over $200,000.
I understand what you're saying, okay, but the nature of the beast with police is this, okay? Money and benefits are one thing, but if for some reason they don't feel like they're being appreciated, that can slow things down. I mean, Joe will tell you, if people aren't happy with what's going on, they slow down, they don't write tickets, they don't do stuff. That happens. Okay, it's just the nature of the
Well,
beast.
then they're not doing their job. That's
And they're
what
not doing their
I-
job. Exactly. But you gotta figure out a way to get everybody to buy into the system,
Yeah.
okay?
So
That's the trick, trying to get people to buy into the system.
Can I respond to that, Council President?
Go ahead.
So what drives up the overtime is not the fact that we're shorthanded. What drives up the overtime is that in the collective bargaining agreement, it says we have to have 2 full-timers on at all times, and they elect to work that overtime. We have a full complement of part-timers, there's 9 down there right now, that this week are gonna work the whole week because the full-timers pretty much took off the whole week. Because they can, because of the collective bargaining agreement. So what's driving the overtime up is that the overtime article in the contract that we have to have 2 full-timers on and offer to them first. So when it's convenient, they can work it when they want to work it. When it's not convenient, like this week, then we use the part-timers. That's what drives up the overtime. We have plenty of men and women downstairs to cover the streets. We were short 6 full-time officers for a period of time through the spring and in the beginning of the summer. And we did very well during that period of time, utilizing the part-time officers that are downstairs for that reason.
And the other thing is, everybody says, like, you run the people. I don't know why you're saying about, you're the guy that signed the contract, you're the guy that negotiated, you're the guy, and I negotiated against him for
I
numerous
know,
contracts.
I'm aware of
You
that.
know, we battled, you know, but we didn't agree to this. This is done by, you know, I said last contract, the arbitrator came in and, you know, we hired a guy, cost the borough $50,000, you know, for a law firm to come in, and we said we really got a good shot, and we lost.
Well, maybe a suggestion might be, and I don't know whether it would fly or not, but in your negotiations, you make that a part of negotiation, see if there's a way that can be modified.
Oh, well, it's,
You
we
know.
feel it's not even part, we feel it's a managerial right to take that out. So, but again, who knows?
If, you
But
gotta hope an
it's easy to come
arbitrator,
here, it's easy to come here and say, let's bring Kevin back, we all know who you're talking about, somebody's going, but you're not telling me how to pay for it.
well, Kevin would be paid for by that, the other officer who we know is not coming back for sure.
But is he gonna, we don't know that.
Yeah.
I mean, workman's comp been asking him for how long, Jim? Over a year?
He's talking about the one that's been out for 3 years.
Yeah,
Workers' comp has been paying him. He's not part of the existing 10 that we discussed in the budget. He's 11th that's been out there for 3 years, being paid by the insurance company, not being paid by the taxpayers. So, you know, you shouldn't even be talking about him. He has no impact on this budget, in my opinion.
so he's not
That's the
part of,
11th.
he's not part of the 10.
No, he's not part.
I thought Alan was the 11.
Well, who are you talking
Well,
about? Alan's the 11th, yes.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
talking about the other guy.
the other guy that's been out with back problems. That's who I'm talking about. Alan's gone, he's already
No,
retired.
he's still on the books.
Oh, it hasn't gone through
And
yet?
do you know, once they're done, we still have to pay their medical for 4 years post-medical. And in this contract, they're asking for 8 years post-retirement benefit. 8. One officer, me and Angie did the numbers today, I stopped in. If they win the 8-year post-retirement, that will be $400,000 per cop that this borough taxpayers have to pay for their medical benefits. Now, is that real? Come on.
Let me tell you, let me say something, so just so you understand where I come from, okay? I know about contracts. I negotiated them when I was a police officer on both sides. I negotiated a contract here with Fidel and the police when I was chief of police. So I know what you're talking about. Okay, there's a lot of pitfalls in that contract. Do you know how much you get for every traffic ticket? What do you get?
Not much.
$12.50, $12.50.
And how many get thrown out? You know that number?
And what's the officer get paid?
It's $100 and some dollars or $200 to show up for court.
Yeah.
I mean, I know these numbers because I know what they get to go to court. We pay them a couple $100 to go to court, and the judge throws the ticket out, and you know that, right? We get 0, and they get paid to go to court.
Well, see, that's a fallacy there.
It is?
Yeah.
We
because-
have a record of how
because-
many tickets were thrown out.
Not
how
thrown
many were
out.
paid?
You have to remember something.
Dismissed.
Officers come in and say to me, Judge, this guy's okay, can you dismiss it? Okay? So it comes back on me because it happens in my court. Joe will tell you that happens, or excuse me, the
Oh,
chief will
I know
tell you
it
that
happens all over.
Okay?
It's not just
So
here.
don't just put it, don't just
No, I'm
try
saying
to
it's
cast an
happens
aspersion
all
on me
over.
that I just threw the tickets
No,
out
but what
because
I'm
it
saying is
didn't.
you're saying how much they get. Yeah,
Yeah.
we know.
Yeah.
We know what they get. We know how much we get. And a lot of these tickets are dismissed. So it's easy to show up and grab a couple $100 for an hour. There's so many things in this contract, and when you were negotiating, there wasn't binding arbitration. So
There
now,
was.
well, how come they didn't settle a contract for 9 years when we took over?
When I was the chief, okay, the last contract that they had, and I'm not saying anything bad about the past manager, he came to me and he said, what do you think that the guys would settle for? And I said, give me about a week or so. So I come back and I lay it out to him and I say, if you offer this to these officers, they'll accept that contract. Came time for the meeting, he presented a whole different plan. Went to arbitration. What do you think they got when they went to arbitration? Everything that I told him we could settle for without doing anything was given to them in the arbitration. So I know a little bit about contracts, and I know a little bit about negotiating them. I did it as a police officer, and I did it as the chief to help the borough.
Well, we'll find out. in a couple weeks what's gonna happen. But tonight, we need to balance a budget, so.
Can I just bring up one other thing that
Sure.
you might think about for funding? You know, Bristol Township's having great success with their traffic cams, okay? What's to stop us from doing Beaver and Bath Street?
So, I'm glad you brought that up. I try to stay on top of things. I met with the chief today because we had a rescue squad meeting and he's on the rescue squad board. And we just started talking about different things after the meeting. Do you know Bristol Township doesn't get that money?
They don't get any of it at all?
Goes to PennDOT.
Oh, okay.
But they pay for the cop, a cop has to review every single ticket before it's issued to see if he was.
Yeah, I know
turned.
that.
So there's a cop, they have guys tied up reviewing the cameras. They get paid for that cop's time or administration time and all that.
And the borough.
But all the fines
Doesn't get any of it.
goes to PennDOT, and if they want to apply down the road for a grant to do something with an intersection, because I said to Cindy today, she's the vice president of council, I said, man, you guys are killing it. I want to get one stop sign at Farragut Avenue. I said, we could balance our budget. And they said, you know what, we don't
Well, that's
get,
something I didn't know. I thought the.
We don't
I
get the
thought that
money.
the,
So did I.
got part of it.
yeah.
But he also said that the borough is not eligible because
Yeah.
it's too small.
We're too small of a town.
The
so we
state,
couldn't
the
put a
state
camera.
won't do it for small municipalities because they feel like it's just a,
The money,
they might be doing a revenue stream.
yeah.
And we don't get any money.
PennDOT wouldn't put a camera here.
That's great.
And to Louis' point into what you guys are talking about here, I just think we need to not lose sight of the fact that it's an economy of scale thing, right? We talked about Ben Salem, we talked about Bristol Township. Their resources just far exceed ours. We are limited by, I mean, you see how much the school district, as an example, just struggles with funds because we just have a much more difficult task with our budget with a 1.9 square mile. I think we do a heck of a job in keeping an eye on our fiscal responsibilities while also continuing to put public safety first, while also operating under the constraints of what a small town like this has to operate under. Ben Salem's in the 30% range. I looked at Bristol Township too. They're in like the 35-40% range of what they spend on their police department, and that's because they can. I don't even think we can consider what you're saying. Not for any reason other than the amount of money that it costs. I mean, we are spending 50% of our budget on our police department, and again, I just don't think we can lose sight of that. That's not sustainable. That's just not something that will stand the test of time. And at some point in time, if we don't make difficult decisions now, we're going to have to make way more difficult decisions later.
Just so you understand.
Yeah.
Okay? This isn't a hurt feelings thing if you don't go along with this. I understand this.
Yeah.
Okay? You were asked for my recommendation. I gave my recommendation.
Okay.
That's what I honestly
I got you.
think would serve the borough.
I think it's a
okay?
very substantive conversation that you
But I also understand that we all take an oath to do our best for the borough.
Sure.
And I know you're going to do your best for the borough because we honor that oath that we take. So it's not going to hurt my feelings or get me upset that my
Well, with all due
proposal
respect,
doesn't go through.
that's not my concern. I mean that again, not in any combative way. That is actually, what I'm trying to cut through is the red tape of, my concern aren't your feelings, my concern aren't my feelings, my concern aren't Ralph's feelings. My concern is that we're spending 50% of our budget plus on the police department, and I just don't think that's
I understand
sustainable.
100%.
Can
Thanks.
I respond to Greg for 1 second? So Greg brought up a very good point about the police department. I just want everybody to know that one of the things that part-timers do, and we wouldn't be able to do without the part-timers and the school board, is serve the purpose of putting police officers in the schools. Senator Girardi in Bristol High School on a daily basis because of the grant that they get for the part-time, to pay the whole salary for the part-time officers to be in them schools. And two, could you imagine the overtime costs if we utilized full-timers for all the events that we have in town, if we just had full-timers for them events, the part-timers are utilized and serve a great purpose for all the events that we have in town. And we have a lot of events in town that we have to protect. So just to add to what you're saying, that they'd serve a wonderful purpose for us.
Joe, that grant,
Yeah, Lorraine, I'm sorry.
that grant pays for a part-time officer, doesn't pay for 40-hour week, does it?
When we did the grant, we did it at the part-time salary so that we can have an officer in each school. If we did it for a full-time salary, we wouldn't be able to put an officer in each school.
Okay, I just wanted to make that clear.
We just want to, I think, moving forward, we're going to all work together for the next 4 years. I just want you to know that nobody on this council is against, like Greg said, the police. And we want to put the best police department out there, the best fire department out there, the best rescue squad department out there. That's our job. But the main thing we need to do is make sure the taxpayers and the seniors of this town are protected. And we all could shoot from the hip and say, I think we should hire 3 more secretaries. We should hire 2 more street and highway department. We're hoping we lose some people in the street and highway department. We just can't afford it anymore. I mean, everybody's salaries just keep increasing. So before we, I don't know, I still don't know, you presented this, where do you want me to go? I mean, I'm following your lead. It was just a suggestion.
I presented what you wanted from me, what my budget
Well, I wanted you to
proposal was.
present a budget, you just gave me, there's no numbers.
Well, there's nothing else on the budget that needs to be addressed. I mean, the cars are taken care of. Staffing level is the only difference that we had. Salary level, I couldn't give you an estimate on what the salaries are gonna be, because we don't know if it's gonna be 2%, 3% increase.
We added, what, Angie, 2% to the budget.
All right.
That's
So,
what we added.
so in my mind, this was the most pressing issue, which what I felt would be the most efficient way for the police department, okay? I may be wrong. No, it's not an exact science, like I said. But I will work along with everybody, and I will work within the constraints of the budget,
But we don't want you, the reason this whole thing came about is we didn't want you to say, they tied my hands because I couldn't do my job because blah, blah, blah. We want you to know that we got a $3.7 million budget for police.
Let me just say this, Ralph. If I wanted to say that, I would say it here in council right now in this meeting where people can watch it. That's not my intention. I'm not trying to say that council doesn't care about the citizens and the businesses
That's all I care
and the
about.
police department, okay? I care about the police department because I was a police officer for 28 years, And I care about this town because this town has been very good to me.
No, I know.
I've been very fortunate, not growing up here, but being, appreciated here. So that's why I'm here, because I want to give back to the community. I have no agenda, no hidden agenda.
Okay, I just want you to know that we're all here for the same reason. We want to do what's right for the borough. All right, so I'm sorry I didn't go to the public. Does anybody have anything they want to say? Go to the podium, state your name.
I just have a question.
You could go to the podium.
My name is Dawn Hogan. I just have a question for Mayor-elect. During your campaign, I believe you had literature that said that you wanted to lower taxes for seniors if you were elected, and I wondered if that's something you're going to be able to get done before the budget passes.
Well, my intention to bring it up after I became mayor. I didn't want to bring it up before.
Okay.
I will come up with a proposal going forward for next year.
To lower taxes for seniors.
Seniors, first responders, and veterans. Not a big tax decrease, but after looking at what you got there, that might be a tougher hill to climb.
Well, I don't think they can hear you. He's texting me. He said, "Can you repeat your question?"
Oh, I'm sorry. Who am I speaking to?
Is it on? No, people at home can't hear you.
Okay. My name is Dawn. I just had a question for the mayor-elect, that during the campaign, you had literature out that said that you were going to lower taxes for seniors, and I wondered if that was something you were going to get done, prior to the budget passing, or before the budget passing.
That would be next year. Right now, I'm just the mayor-elect, so that's something that'll take me a year to work on once I take office.
Okay, but it's a promise that you made and that you intend to keep?
I'm gonna try.
Okay,
I didn't say it was a promise I was gonna do that.
okay,
What I said was that I would like to have that taxes as a way of showing respect to the elderly, first responders, and the veterans in town. And small decrease in taxes could be a couple $100, maybe shared by the school district. Just a little something, because, we always have a tendency to honor people after they're not here. And I think that a tax break for them would be showing that we appreciate what they do while they're still here. And that's why I said that.
okay, well, I look very much forward to hearing your plan for that as a senior taxpayer in the borough.
So would I.
Thank you.
So you do, not that, you do know you can't lower taxes for seniors.
You can't do that?
It's gotta be done townwide.
Oh, does it?
You can't just lower taxes for seniors or fire.
I didn't know that. I didn't know, did you
I
get
didn't want
that?
you to waste your time on,
No, okay, well,
Yeah,
that's
just
one
being
less thing I
upfront.
gotta worry about.
I also just want to stress that, I say this at the risk of getting my own parents upset, but young people are really struggling right now, like really struggling to get into houses, to afford anything. I respect my elders to the umph degree, but I think it's widely held at this point in time that a group that's struggling more than anybody are in their 20s and 30s, and I just don't know how that would
I heard
parse.
the average person is not buying a home, not able to buy a home until they're in their 40s.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's a statistic that is,
See, I'm learning something new every day.
so,
I mean, there's sheets we can show you, like how many, the percentage of people on fixed incomes in this town, and I just don't want you to waste your time. You can't lower, we wanted to do something years ago, and they said you can't do it, so. You can't lower taxes for a certain group of people. Now,
I guess we gotta look at new funding sources.
vets, as far as vets, they have a right, that there's some program out there that some of them apply for.
Yeah, they get a tax rebate. But that,
All right,
you
so-
have to have a certain income in order to qualify for that.
So here's my, I don't know, Matt keeps texting, I don't know if we're losing feeds or you're sitting too far back, and Lorraine,
I've been here.
it's not hearing your mic. When I go to my phone, I don't want people
Is
to
yours
think I'm
on?
texting
Is it on?
somebody.
Yeah, you got a green light on it, yeah, thank you.
You good, Lorraine? I don't want people to think I'm texting somebody at home. He's texting me, telling me. All right, he said it's good. Let's get back to the budget. What a night. So after putting a lot of time since our last meeting, I think we had 3 or 4 meetings. Angie's ready to strangle me because she's backed up with stuff. So we invested the money from, does anybody have any more questions?
No,
I'm good.
So my suggestion, our investment on the sewer fund is drawing interest. This year it's supposed to draw about 1.6, I think, on the, I'll let that sheet of paper.
Yes,
Is it Angie off the
one
top of my
point
head?
six,
1.6.
1.6.
yes.
Okay, we invested it. We never touched the principal of any of the money that we have. I say there's no other way, there's no other income to come into this borough. I mean, I think we take that interest of 1.6 or 1.7 that they're projecting for 26. We take that money and we put that to balance the budget. That'll solve this deficit. But I think it's only the interest, not the principal. But I think we really need, over the next 12 months, to follow this budget because, like Frank said, If you might get 2 cops to retire, you may get a street and highway guy to retire. But that doesn't mean you replace them. You need to cut into the 7 or 8? $1.8 million deficit.
Which is gonna be recurring.
It's recurring, yeah. So you never take one-time revenue to pay a recurring expense, which we're not doing. But you do take, we could count on interest every year, but we don't know next year that 1.6 could be, $1 million. Could be $1.2 million, could be 800, we don't know. But we do know that we're gonna get interest on the money. So I think that's the only way look, it's a fixed budget, there's nowhere to cut it. I mean, you're gonna cut the copier out, you're gonna cut, you're talking phones, electric. So things are in this budget that there's no way to get rid of it. The only way we could save money is through salaries, retirements, and cutting, not replacing people. It's the only way you can survive. If not, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, you won't have any money left that you saved, and everything will be gone. And it's really sad. I mean, there's townships that use their principal, send Christmas gifts to people, to the taxpayers, and who was running for office to do different things. I'm saying for this year, I mean, it may have to be next year, but for now, if it goes the way we plan and we do lose some people through attrition, we don't replace them and we try to cut into this $1.8 million deficit. But I don't see anywhere to get income. I mean, I think permits are going to be down this year. We're hoping overtime, that's 380,000 in police, may go down to 125. You're never going to get rid of overtime. You know what I mean? Can we cut a couple 100,000 out of that? I don't know. And again, you're going to get, once you get involved, you're going to start saying, you may come here 6 months and say, we're wrong. You may come here and say, you know what, you guys are right. There's no way to cut this. I don't know, but I know the biggest part of this, like the manager said, is the police budget. And like Greg said, we're spending 50% of our income that goes towards the police. And you say bring 2 more in, you can't. You just can't bring more people in because you can't sustain the cost. The numbers don't work anymore.
Well, it was just one, just so we're clear.
Well, okay, but I'm saying you can't sustain that income every year. You need to decrease. And like I said, sure, do we want full-timers? Absolutely. I'm the first one that would admit that. But there's a lady that's asking for a tax break. So what do we're going to tell her, no, instead of decreasing your taxes, we're going to increase them. And your taxes go up, it's just not feasible. So council doesn't have a problem with this. I don't think we need to meet again because I don't know what we would meet over unless somebody could find another revenue source. And I don't know where it would be, am I right?
Correct, absolutely correct.
Jim?
For this year, this is it. I think you have to proceed. I think you have to adopt this preliminary budget so we can advertise it, so it's available for public inspection. So it'll be ready for you to adopt at your meeting on December 15th. We have to advertise, so we have to get moving.
Does anybody have a problem with that?
No, I don't have a problem.
You okay with that?
100%.
I think it's probably the appropriate thing to do.
I mean, like I said, how many meetings today she wanted to kill me. I said, we gotta find money somewhere. There's nothing out there.
We don't have a choice.
And we talked to our investment firm and they said they're projecting next year. That could go south too, right?
Yep.
He said that could turn around. You may not get 1.8. You may get less. So we don't know. And we'll bring them in for a review this year. They come in every year and talk about investments and everything. So that'll probably be sometime before the summer. So if we're okay with that, I'm going to have council authorize the manager and Angie to finish the budget because we didn't change anything. We left it. Everybody has the same budget as last week. Make them changes, do a transfer from sewer to general fund.
Change the insurance to.
Pardon me?
Change the insurance. to
Change the insurance, add
The increase,
we
the
got
8%
12,
difference.
go to 20%. You gotta add another 8% to all it,
Got it?
and what else?
That's it.
This authorized advertising.
And authorize, so we need a motion for that, Jim?
I would say you should have a motion to adopt the preliminary budget as discussed and to authorize advertising and for public inspection.
Greg, you wanna make? the
Yeah,
motion?
Mr. President, I'd like to
I know
make-
you're writing some,
Yep.
okay.
So what was the last part?
And authorize, adopt this preliminary budget as proposed. To authorize advertising of the preliminary budget for public inspection. And to prepare the tax ordinances for the December 15th meeting.
Okay.
So there's two motions.
There you go.
And
Okay, Mr. President, I would like to make a motion to adopt the budget as proposed, to authorize the advertising of the budget for public inspection, and to prepare the tax ordinances for the December 15th meeting.
second by Lorraine. Any questions or comments?
I have one. I just want to thank Angie for all of your hard work,
Thank you.
and Mr. Dillon as well. You're a pain in the butt.
Second.
Angie, you won't
I'll
see
second
that.
All those in favor?
Aye. Opposed? Before we adjourn, I apologize. Is that enough? You want to say anything, or are you good? I didn't come back to you, so I didn't want you to think I was ignoring you.
Ralph, don't adjourn.
Okay.
Excuse me, one second. I just want to make a quick announcement.
I do too, I'm sorry, Chief, when you're done.
Okay. Everybody knows that the tree lighting is coming up this Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, and then the annual Christmas parade is going to be on Saturday. I watched the weather today. It looks like we're going to have some bad weather coming in tomorrow and Wednesday. Starting tonight, the officers are going to be out on midnight shift, putting the slips on the car windshield. So just to go over a couple road closures, so if you know anybody that's living on, let's just say from Farragut Avenue down by the Wawa, all the way through town, Pond Street, down Old 13 to Mill to Radcliffe, there's going to be postings. Hopefully they don't get wet. We're going to do our best to work around the rain. But Friday at 2 p.m., we will be shutting down Mill Street all the way around to Market Street so that we can set up for the tree lighting. And then Saturday, for the Christmas parade, we will be shutting down Farragut Avenue, starting down by the Wawa, at Green Lane. Let's just say Farragut at Green Lane around 12 o'clock. And then all the way through the Christmas parade route, down Farragut, the pond, like I just said, we'll have it posted. But if you know somebody that lives in that area or you live in that area, just be mindful of the postings so that we can avoid towing cars on Friday and Saturday if we can hopefully help it. So that's all. I just wanted to
The
remind
parking
you.
lot will be available on Friday night,
The
correct?
parking lot's available Friday night and all day Saturday.
Okay,
It's just that route and that little area, that block and a half for Friday
okay.
night.
Greg, what do you have?
And I just wanted to talk about the actual tree lighting itself. Myself and a committee of supportive local people have been working hard for the last month in putting this tree lighting event together. I want to thank Borough Council because this tree lighting, unique to some in the past, is 100% sponsored by this Borough Council. And I think the people uptown are really going to appreciate it because it's going to be another fun event. We have the Sugar Plums. It's a group of 3 girls who sing Christmas carols. They've won national awards for Christmas caroling. They're great. It'll be a fun, festive, family-led event. There'll be dancing by some kids that are from the ages of 4 to 12 who will be doing a little dance led by Valeria Studios, a person named Emma Pirandola, who will be preparing all that. The most important thing, festivities will start at 6:30. So if you want to see these girls sing, who are great, see the kids dance, which is always a lot of fun, that'll start at 6:30. We have tents that are going to be set up that will open up at 6. A little bit of food, couple of vendors, very small, nothing like Sunday Stroll, only about 5 tents. And then the tree itself will be lit at 7:10. So if you want to avoid all that and just get there for the tree lighting, which I don't recommend, it's going to be a fun event. That's at 7:10. Everything else will happen starting 6 o'clock, tents open, 6:30, entertainment begins, 7:10, tree gets
Will
lit.
Santa be there?
Santa Claus will absolutely make an appearance, yes.
So, two things. Does anybody else have anything? Yeah, all right.
I just want to thank the Borough Garden Club for beautifying the 4 gateways in Bristol. They did a wonderful job. And also, I wanted to just say happy Thanksgiving to everyone, and stay safe.
Okay, two quick announcements. One, November 27th, there will be no leaf pickup Thanksgiving. They'll be picking it up Saturday, November 29th.
But isn't that the day of the parade? I think that should be canceled.
They'll be down Pond Street early in the morning, but the rest of the town, you gotta pick up those leaves.
But how are you gonna get across town?
Can't we do it?
You can't go up and down the
Can't you see if we can
streets.
do it on Monday? I know it's a pain, but
But what, she's right, how are you gonna get through
you
the,
can't get in and out of the street.
if you're going up in streets in Harriman or
Oh, I
like
meant-
Lincoln Avenue, you gotta
Oh,
go
you
up from
did.
Pond.
I forgot, I meant to call.
Franklin, you gotta go up from Pond, you know, darn, you know what I mean? Washington, so you can't, there's no way it's gonna work. You're right. Oh. And the last thing, Joe, you and AJ, I wanna just bring something up. You can't get around the tree anymore because of them bump outs. So the road is basically closed behind the tree on Samuel Cliff. But there's 3 barricades that block off the road now. If you're coming down the parking lot, people think they could come up the hill because you always were able to get around the tree. You can't now. So I told the borough workers today to have a sign that says road closed, which is fine, but the King George has to get deliveries in. So we need to figure a way to put permanent signs, because it's gonna be at least 6 weeks, right? That road closed ahead, just local deliveries or something to get to the, or just deliveries to the King George. We need to figure something out sooner than later, because everybody's trying to make a U-turn now. They come up, they think they can get up the hill and they can't. So, they were the bump outs that I really didn't want.
I'm off tomorrow. I'll go down to Public Works Garage and talk to Steve and see what we
And maybe go run to somebody and print up a sign, you know, on, like Joe said, all this rain's coming.
Steve is having signs done.
He
talked
is,
to
'cause
him
I
today.
talked to him this morning.
Yeah, we were out there for a meeting at the tree, early, like later part of the morning, and he did tell me they were printing signs up. I don't know if it included local deliveries on them signs, so we should check that tomorrow morning.
Well, I talked to him around 8 o'clock this morning,
Okay.
but I just wanted to bring up for the people at home too, that they know that road's closed. And it's gonna be closed until the tree comes down.
Also, I know we are cut from the cloth where you don't necessarily thank people for doing their job, but the borough crew is absolutely going above and beyond with this
Amazing.
tree.
Amazing.
And on top of that, they generally we have left the stage up over the weekend. It's Thanksgiving weekend. We didn't want to have to bring them out if we didn't have to, but this year they're gonna set the stage up and break it down on Friday night at this, you know, within a couple of hours, because there's no way by the tree if we don't do that. So special thanks to them. They've been doing a great job already, and we just put a little bit more on their plates. So just thanking them in advance.
All right, so we're all good with the budget, how we're gonna handle it? Everybody have a good Thanksgiving, and our meeting will be the 3rd Monday in December. Because we can't make different things, it's the 15th,
Okay,
15th.
who won't be here? I thought I heard somebody say, you? You won't be here?
All right, can I get a motion to adjourn? Louis, second by Maria. Meeting adjourned.